Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. While we wait for some more people to come on the air with us in the chat, we're going to start this evening off as we have been doing in times past with a salute to the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the United States National Anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. We found this little ditty of a broadcast from the convention several years ago, and we've deemed it appropriate for this channel. We want to pay tribute to our armed forces personnel wherever they might be around this world. May God bless them. May God bless them that they can return home to their families after their tours of duty end. God bless also our armed forces here in the United States and around the world. God bless them all. We want to also thank our armed forces of our allied forces as well. May God bless them that they can return home to their families safely after their tours of duty end. We live in a time of trouble and turmoil in our countries around the world. We ask the Lord to bless all of them that they may help protect our world and keep us safe. God be with you all until we meet again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for standing for the nation's national anthem. I appreciate that so much. Folks, as we've been doing for some time now, I'm going to turn this over to our weather forces at a local television station to bring what is going on up to speed with all of us here. This is WYFF News. I can tee everything up so it's ready, and when I go to broadcast, all of a sudden I get a cotton picking wheel here going round and round. I want to tell you this: there have been a lot of newscasts all over. There has been a lot of wind, a lot of rain, and quite frankly, folks, people are in danger all over the East Coast, all the way down to Florida. I spoke to someone down in Florida earlier this evening, and earlier this afternoon, I should say, about 4 o'clock, and they said they had clear skies over on the East Coast of Florida. They had had some storm clouds there yesterday and the day before, as this storm passed closer to Florida, on the southern part of Florida. But now they've had nothing but good weather since. Now, I'm not sure what to think here. I don't know what to think. This is more than crazy. This is more than crazy. I fully expected that to just start up and we have no problems, but apparently there are problems here. Okay, let's leave this. I think I have enough evidence to show you that there are issues all up and down the coast and what is going on here. I'm going to explain this as we go tonight. I hope you all will understand what we're saying. This is the storm right now. This is a Category 3 hurricane. A Category 3 hurricane. This is off the west coast of Florida around Tampa Bay right now. This is not going into Tampa Bay at all. But the outer bands of the hurricane are approaching the other east coast of Florida. As you can see, the outer bands of the hurricane stretch way out east. Some of the outer bands are also going west. Again, this hurricane is going to touch Alabama at least. This hurricane is going to touch Alabama at least. It's going into the Big Bend of Florida here. Now I'm going to make this a little bit larger so you can see it better. At 1 p.m. today, this was the location. Now it's drawn further north in the Gulf of Mexico. As of 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, this hurricane became a Cat 3 storm. Hurricane Helene is still intensifying and ahead of its Florida landfall, packing major storm surge, flooding, high winds, and inland winds as well, with the outer bands of the hurricane even strengthening more. Now I'll take this down real quick. I want you to see something else. When we talk about storm surge, again, the storm surge is wind-driven rain and water from the Gulf of Mexico. Wind-driven rain and water from the Gulf of Mexico. 0 to 3 feet of storm surge is like up to the top of a traffic cone. 3 to 6 feet, that is as high as a refrigerator. 6 to 9 feet, that is as high as a standard Christmas tree. 9 feet. Then we go 9 to 12 feet of storm surge. For reference, a standard basketball hoop goal is 12 feet high. Then we come to 12 feet plus of storm surge. For reference, this is the top of a semi-truck trailer, 20 feet high. I just wanted to put this up. Hurricane Heather showed us this today, and this is a very good reference. I'm going to keep this reference as a tool to look at if we have, when we have further hurricanes, so everybody understands storm surge. Now let me go back to the map, okay? I want to go back and show you what is actually happening. Now, this is the storm off the coast of Florida, or North Carolina. This is the coast of North Carolina, Rodan Island, North Carolina. If you remember a movie called, what was it? Harrison Ford and another lady character who didn't even know each other at the beginning of the movie. They met and they became best friends and more over here in Rodan, North Carolina. But here we see two homes going down to suffer the surge of a hurricane. Storm surge, guys. We're talking storm surge here. Let me show you what is happening. Look at the other home. The first home was not anchored squarely or sufficiently to prevent it going down, and it hit the other home. Now, normally, if it hit the other home would have gone down as well. Now, the other home might have been anchored more securely to the ground. But as you know, what happens when we build a home on the sand? The sandy roads, doesn't it? That's what happened here. Now, what is happening over in Florida? The same thing. There's a huge storm surge. People that have built their homes or have bought their homes along the coastline are going to suffer storm surge. We talked about this last night. Huge storm surge, guys. Huge storm surge. Look at this. Tampa Bay. This is approximately off the coast of where this hurricane is. Off the coast of Tampa Bay right now. The red area is the storm hurricane warning. The storm hurricane warning. Tropical storm warning winds. Okay? Tropical storm warning winds. The outer bands of the hurricane. The hurricane is going into the Big Bend of Florida here. Okay? The dark blue or the light purple or lavender is the hurricane warning area. That and north. Now this may change as we go forward. This may change as we go forward. I want to make that clear here. Okay? This can change. Sustained winds. Okay? Sustained winds. The eye of the hurricane, it was further south here in this particular slide. This was last night. Now it's over where that big gray blob is in the wind area here of this hurricane. Okay? Tampa Bay. Wind observation gusts. 30 to 35 miles per hour, up to 70 miles per hour. Key West is still 50 to 60 miles per hour. Savannah, Georgia, 25 to 30 miles per hour and building. It is intensifying. Tallahassee, Florida, it was 5 to 10 miles per hour and now it's up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. Okay? Everybody understand that? I want to make sure everybody understands that. You can see where the hurricane is right now as of 1 p.m. today. It's gone even further. It's traveling northbound at 16 miles per hour. Sometime this evening, probably about 10 p.m., Hurricane Helene will hit landfall. The eye of the storm will hit landfall. Okay? Let's go back here and see if I can bring up this news feed here. I'm going to try something. Bear with me for just a minute. I'm going to see if I can restart it here.
Meteorologist Griffin Hardy joins me right now. And Griffin, we just got new information in from this river gauge, and it's one of many that we could have picked. So you've got the Swannanoa and Biltmore and the French Broad at many different locations, and this is some historic flooding underway.
Yeah, and this is not cherry picked where we have just one location that's going to reach record flood stages. This is all up and down the French Broad River. We're set to break records as far as levels go. But look at how dramatic this is. We're talking about levels that are 10 feet above current records. Just incredible. Incredible.
Line graphs can be difficult sometimes to dissect, but let's unpack it. This is where the French Broad normally flows at, about 3 feet. If you've ever been up there, it's kind of normally hanging out at that. Right now it sits at 17 feet. That in and of itself is high.
Yeah, that's
but
at
the
moderate
forecast
stage is way up there.
You go up to 30 feet. So we're talking it's going to double its intensity and height right here in the course of half a day here.
Yep.
The record was 20.1, and that was back in 2004?
That was back in 2004, yep. If Hurricane Francis sets the current record, and the second record was also in 2004 with Hurricane Ivan. So it was back-to-back events there, and this is sort of two events kind of at the same time, where we have the stalled front and what is going here in the next 12 hours.
So just perspective, incredible. That record 2004 sits right here, and that was from those two hurricanes. It's going to go about 10 feet above that, which is the problem here. Thank you, Griffin. Helene sits right now across the Gulf, and that's the problem, is we've got all of this rain to go through before we're done, and those rivers are already near record-breaking heights. And again, there's this much rain left. All right, so let's show you the latest with this system right here as we move forward. Helene has winds at 130 miles per hour, which does, with this special advisory, 620, put it in a Category 4 hurricane. Yep, we now have a Category 4, so this storm is stronger, making landfall. So a special advisory, hey, just saw it come in exactly at the time. So a Category 4 storm making landfall, moving in more quickly, moving in more powerful. So you add in the historic rain that we have, we're also going to potentially have more devastating winds because it's making landfall as a stronger hurricane and moving more quickly our way. A recipe for tremendous just power with this storm. And I don't mean that in a good way with this storm. It's going to be so devastating with the power outage concerns, down trees. So please, folks, the time is to take action right now. If you have water that's near your home, and it's right now this early in the storm, you need to leave and stay somewhere else tonight. If you've had issues with flooding in the past, go stay somewhere else tonight. Don't wait until 5 a.m. when it's too late and you can't get out of your home because floodwaters have surrounded them. Here's what it looks like right now in Greenville. This storm system set to come. So again, just to reiterate, our rivers are already at record heights, especially in western North Carolina, and there's all of this rain to go. A solid 12 to 18 hours left of this rain, and then you add in the wind. So our grounds are saturated, landslides are a concern in the mountains, and then here at 5 a.m. you've got this storm just roaring through the area. Those gusts with our latest models are showing 60, 70 miles per hour. It's in here, it's out of here, it's whipping and roaring through the area. And then by 9, 10 o'clock, it's pushing out of Asheville and things are calming down, but those rivers will continue to rise because all that water finds its way down the valleys into the rivers and streams. So 5 inches of additional rain expected in Asheville, 3.8 inches of additional rain in Greenville, 7 in Hendersonville. Let's get in closer to western North Carolina because it's this southern and eastern facing slope of the mountains that could top 10 inches of additional
10 inches of additional rain. Look at that area in Marion, over on the right side there in North Carolina. Marion is about 25 minutes south of us. 25 minutes south of us. 5.5 inches of rain. 5.5 inches of rain. That's pretty much what we expect here in Morganton, North Carolina. 5.5 inches of rain. So far, we maybe have gotten 1 inch an hour. That's still a lot of rain. The park that sits just north of where we are, it has a small stream going through it. At about 1 p.m. this afternoon, that stream was almost going over its banks. And after this program is through, we're going to check that stream and see where it's at. Okay? But Marion, 5.5 inches of rain.
Rain, and that would be in addition to the 8 inches you've already had in the past 24 hours, bringing the storm total to 20 inches. Highest on record out of any storm ever in the history of weather data in the mountains of western North Carolina. Just really, really devastating what we could be looking at here. And I remember 2004, grew up in the mountains. School was closed. We had power outages for days, and unfortunately that could be very possible here as this rolls through. Wind gusts in excess of 40, 50 miles per hour. So let me show you the new model with this, with it getting a little closer to us and with it being a little stronger at landfall. That puts these wind gusts, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., in the 70 to 82 mile per hour mark, and it stays high through 8, 9 o'clock. Again, this would be fine at the coast, but we do not have the coast soil. We do not have the coast trees. So those of you up from Florida or the coast, I mean, this again would be kind of a normal tropical storm for you, but in our area, it's not normal, and our trees have such a sail to them, and our ground's just not the same as it is at the coast. So locally, those wind gusts will start to grow midnight and after as we look closer at the upstate northeast Georgia. And here we go, rocking and rolling through 4, 5, 6 a.m., 74, 75, 80 mile per hour winds. We've got gusts that are hurricane strength across the area. Now tomorrow morning, this is really rough for us early. Then it's some showers with gusty winds. And the sun shining by the afternoon hours. It's moving out quickly. So Live Super Doppler 4 Alert Day. When you see that red icon, it means that dangerous weather is happening now. You need to prepare now. Have a way to keep your family safe tomorrow when the power goes out for your town. 75 will be the high. We're clearing out Saturday, Sunday, into next week with lots of sunshine. Exactly what we needed, an answer to prayers to let those rivers have a way to calm down, because they're going to be oh so high of what we just saw, what could be record-breaking proportions into this week.
Okay, that's what our forecast is here in North Carolina. I want to show you that. It's important. Rivers flooding. Winds at all-time strength. The rivers at an all-time high. Streams at an all-time high. Folks, we are in a very powerful situation. We are in an area where things are going to continue to happen. Okay? I just want to make that perfectly clear. We are still in an area where things will get really bad. Right now, just before I came on the air, I got this from the Weather Service. The National Weather Service sent this to me. This is where the eye of Hurricane Helene is. You can see a well-defined eye here. Okay? Again, this is just off the coast of Florida. Look at the cloud field to the north. 382 miles north. 382 miles north. The outer bands of this hurricane are reaching. To the east, it reaches about 100 miles to the east. To the west, it's a little bit different. 60 to 70 miles to the west. But to the north, we had like 392 miles to the north. That's huge. That's huge. Okay? This hurricane is now a Cat 4 storm. I went and pulled the latest updates at 5 p.m. Helene continues to intensify in the Gulf of Mexico. It's already a Cat 4 storm. There's going to be a major hurricane strike in the Big Bend area, very likely within the next probably 2 hours. The 5 p.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center estimated maximum sustained winds to be approximately 125 to 135 miles per hour, making Helene a Category 4 major hurricane. More than 200,000 customers are without power. Let me take this one down and bring up the power outages. This is according to outages.com. Let me bring this up. This is powerful. Over 200,000 people without power now. Most of the people over without power are on the west coast of Florida here, the southern west coast. Yes, over on the east coast there are some. There are already people without power to the north over in the Big Bend region. Let me enlarge this so you can truly see what's going on. To the north, there's already people without power here. Over 200,000 people without power right now. More than 200,000 customers without power in Florida, and that was as of 5:40 p.m. when I took this slide here. Hurricane Helene is now 130 to 135 miles per hour, maximum sustained winds. Additionally, strengthening is forecast even now. Even though it's a Cat 4 storm, strengthening is forecast. Okay? A catastrophic storm surge of 15 to 20 feet is possible. I showed you that house just a few minutes ago. Storm surge as high as a house. Storm surge as high as a house, guys. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. Catastrophic storm surge 15 to 20 feet high is still forecast for Appalachia Bay and portions of the northern Big Bend region, with the threat of widespread hurricane-force winds becoming highly likely in the area. Tropical storm warnings continue for the majority of central Florida, and a hurricane warning is still in process now in western Marion County. A tornado watch continues for most of central Florida until at least 8 p.m. And rain squalls with strong winds and isolated tornadoes are possible even later tonight. Strong winds and isolated tornadoes are possible even tonight. It's not over. Hurricane Helene is going to make landfall this evening. Dangerous conditions will be present throughout the night, throughout the rest of the state as well, into Georgia. Now, we talked about the forecast cone. Let me see if I have the cone here for you to see. No, that's not it. Just a second, let me see if I can locate the cone for you. I thought I had all this ready here. Doggone it. Okay, I do have it. Just a second, let me put it up for you. Come on. Seems nothing's working like I want it to tonight. Okay, let me show you the cone. Okay. You all have seen these models here that the National Weather Service and other agencies, including the Europeans, have come up with to determine where the hurricane's path is going to go. This was as of last night. As of last night. The hurricane is moved further north, and you can see where it's possibly going to go. Okay? We urge everyone right now to stay safe from hazards like debris, downed power lines, and standing water. Right before I came on the air, I was privy to the news conference with Governor DeSantis of Florida. He's asked everybody, Do not try to do any work in the dark tonight. State and local emergency management officials say do not do any work tonight. Stay out of the danger area. Stay home if at all possible. Don't go out in the storm tonight at all. Stay off the roads, stay safe. Please, guys. Please. Stay off the roads and stay safe. State and local emergency officials have already put out the warning for law enforcement and emergency personnel to assist seniors and others in need to help clear debris after the storm passes. That is after the storm passes. Florida officials and the federal government are urging people to stay indoors. Don't go out. It's going to be too dangerous tonight. At 5 p.m., Governor DeSantis held his news conference. The hurricane now is set to make landfall around 11 p.m. tonight. If you're looking at where this is expected to make landfall, the models have continued to move a little bit east. Now we're looking at anywhere from Wakulla to Jefferson County line over Taylor County, DeSantis said. Most of the data we have say Taylor County landfall. Hurricane Helene has forced numerous cruise ships to change their itineraries to avoid the storm. Carnival Cruise Lines has said two of its ships, Carnival Elation and Carnival Paradise, could not return to Jacksonville, Florida and Tampa after their ports were closed yesterday. Several other Carnival ships have canceled port stops at Cozumel, Mexico. The safety of our guests and crew remains a priority, and our ships are sailing a safe distance from the storm, according to Carnival's statement yesterday. Once the storm passes and the ports reopen, officials will be able to then be fully able to conduct a post-storm assessment before giving clearance for the ships to return to port. Similar adjustments are being made for cruise ships operated by Royal Caribbean, MSC Cruises, and Disney. Now, for those of you that think you're going to try to shelter in place, as Governor DeSantis has said to do, food delivery app DoorDash has suspended service in parts of Florida and Georgia over Hurricane Helene. DoorDash has said it has activated severe weather protocol and suspended operations across parts of Florida's Big Bend and southern Georgia. The areas where DoorDash operations have been temporarily suspended, including Tallahassee, Panama City, Douglas, Sylvester, Hawkinsville, and surrounding areas. Officials have said that operations are expected to resume about 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, but that depends on the safety and the ground conditions in the areas. Now, I want to go back to that graphic showing the state of Florida. I want to go back to that graphic because, frankly, folks, the storm surge is going to be terrific. It's going to be ever terrific. People need to be very cautious at what they're doing. People need to be very cautious as to what they're doing. Okay? This area in red means the storm is still serious. Tropical storm warnings. This is not an advisory watch. This is a tropical storm hurricane warning area. Okay? Winds of 70 to 80 miles an hour. Okay? This graphic here shows an approximate representation of coastal areas under hurricane warning red. Hurricane watch pink. This is not pink. Tropical storm warnings are in blue, and tropical storm watches in yellow, which you don't see. The orange indicates the current position of the center of the tropical storm. It doesn't even show that right now anymore. Okay? Now, while I'm talking about the storm, I want to talk about what is going on here in North Carolina. Many of you are concerned with my safety and Carol's safety, and even Renee Steffi Lamb is the Light, and many others of us that live here in North Carolina. Folks, we are in a condition right now where we are sheltering in place. All of us are. You heard that forecaster from the weather service at WYFF television saying how difficult this is going to be. Asheville, North Carolina, with winds of 70 miles an hour. 70 miles an hour. That's big time dangerous, isn't it? Big time dangerous. People need to stay home. Stay home. This is not the time to try to stay anywhere else but home. It's past the time when you would evacuate. It's past the time when you were going to evacuate. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Earlier today we talked about the Parkway. Okay? We talked about the Parkway, which is the Continental Divide area. Okay? The entirety of the Parkway is closed in North Carolina. Milepost 217 at the North Carolina state line to milepost 469 in Cherokee, North Carolina. Closed. As a result, the following facilities are also closed. Dalton Park Campground and the picnic area at milepost 239 and 241. And Price Park Campground and picnic area at milepost 296.9. Reservation holders will be notified when you can return. Now, we've talked about more closures. The power company here in North Carolina is called Duke Energy. Duke Energy is going to open floodgates on the Oxford Dam. They plan to open 5 floodgates on the Oxford Dam today. While those floodgates are open, Highway 16 will need to be closed at the bridge. Those of you that need to use an alternate route during the closure, please do so. But be very careful. Be very careful and drive slowly. Again, because of the water, the high rainfall total, your lives may be in danger from the road being swept out from underneath itself. Be careful. This bridge will be closed from today through at least 3 p.m. to 3 p.m. today through 10 a.m. Monday. This bridge at the Oxford Dam will be closed from 3 p.m. today until 10 a.m. on Monday. Also, we talked about Hickory, North Carolina. All Catawba County parks are closed for today and likely tomorrow as well. Dalton Park Visitor Center at milepost 241.1. Moses Cone Manor House at milepost 294. The Minerals Museum at milepost 330.9. And the Asheville Visitor Center at milepost 384. Closed. Asheville Visitor Center at milepost 384 is closed. Additional updates are as follows. The Pisgah Inn at milepost 408.6 is only accessible via Highway 276. The Folk Arts Center at milepost 382 is accessible via US 70. United States Highway 70. These severe weather closures are full closures to all public use. These severe weather closures are full closures to all public use. Closures are expected to remain in place until the storm passes. The staff of the National Park Service can safely access the park and clear any storm damage, but the public is asked to stay away. The National Park Service will issue updates when they are available. Today, there's already 97 road closures in place. These road closures may continue to double Road closures could double until we have close to 200 road closures. Renee Steppe is saying floodgates have been opened at Lakes Lura and James in North Carolina. Lake James is just south of where we are, between Morganton and Marion. That's Lake James, to release pressure on the dams. Watch for flooding of low-lying areas downstream. Watch for areas of flooding downstream. Renee Steppe's here in the chat also saying, keep your head on a swivel and know your surroundings. Watch out for debris flows on roads and flooded roadways. Turn around, don't drown. Turn around, don't drown. That was a statement that Governor DeSantis used at his news conference after 5 p.m. today. Governor DeSantis may choose to come back and hold a news conference later this evening. And if he does, we will be privy to it and we'll try to bring that to you live. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about anything we said? Again, we talked about Florida. We talked about Hurricane Helene hitting Florida as a category major storm, category 4, hitting around Taylor County, Florida. It's going to happen. By 11 p.m. tonight, that storm will hit. And as it gets closer, I may come on the air to tell everybody about it and show you what's going on along the coastline of Florida. Okay? We may be on the air a little bit later. Does anybody have any questions about what's going on? Renee Steppe says NOAA Weather Radio is out in western North Carolina. It's available here.
Details. Multiple rounds of heavy rainfall are expected due to the interaction of tropical moisture along the stationary front, followed by the passage of tropical storm Helene. Additional rainfall of 9 to 14 inches with locally higher amounts is expected along the entire length of the Blue Ridge Escarpment, with widespread 4 to 8 inches expected across the remainder of the mountains. This has the potential to be an extremely rare event with dangerous catastrophic flash flooding along numerous streams. http://www.weather.gov/safety/flood A. Flood watch for flash flooding means there is a potential for rapid onset flooding based on current forecasts. Flash flooding is a very dangerous situation and may impact areas that do not typically flood. Tropical cyclone Helene is forecast to make landfall over the Florida Panhandle early tonight. The remnant circulation will move quickly north through Georgia, bringing continued heavy rainfall, significant flooding, and strong winds tonight into Friday morning. Expect a calmer weekend with temperatures near seasonal normals. A tropical storm warning remains in effect for the following areas: in North Carolina: Avery, Buncombe, Burke Mountains, Caldwell Mountains, Catawba, Cleveland, Eastern McDowell, Eastern Polk, Gadsden, Graham, Greater Burke, Greater Caldwell, Greater Rutherford, Haywood, Henderson, Lincoln, Macon, Madison, McDowell Mountains, Mecklenburg, Mitchell, Northern Jackson, Polk Mountains, Rutherford Mountains, Southern Jackson, Swain, Transylvania, Union and Yancey, and the following areas: in Georgia: Albert, Franklin, Habersham, Hart, Rabin and Stevens, and the following areas: in South Carolina: Abbeville, Anderson, Central Greenville, Cherokee, Chester, Greater Oconee, Greater Pickens, Greenville Mountains, Greenwood, Lawrence, Northern Spartanburg, Oconee Mountains, Pickens Mountains, Southern Greenville, Southern Spartanburg, Union and York. Helene to bring significant flash flooding and possible hurricane-force wind gusts to Carolinas and northeast Georgia. Hurricane Helene is expected to make landfall over the Florida Panhandle this evening and move quickly north through Georgia overnight. Significant, potentially catastrophic flash flooding and major mainstem river flooding is expected over portions of the western Carolinas and northeast Georgia this evening into early Friday, especially along the Blue Ridge Escarpment. Wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour with up to 80 miles per hour across the higher ridge tops will be associated with Helene as the center of the storm tracks just west of the county warning area tonight into Friday morning. The combination of saturated soils and strong wind gusts will result in numerous downed trees, leading to numerous power outages. Numerous landslides may occur across the mountains, with large, damaging debris flows or slope failures possible. Several brief tornadoes are also possible, mainly across the Piedmont. At 5 p.m., the eye of Hurricane Helene was located near latitude 27.9 north, longitude 84.6 west, or about 130 miles west of Tampa, Florida. Helene is moving toward the north-northeast near 23 miles per hour. A continued fast motion to the north-northeast is expected through landfall in the Florida Big Bend this evening. After landfall, Helene is expected to turn northwestward and slow down over the Tennessee Valley on Friday and Saturday. Maximum sustained winds have increased to near 125 miles per hour with higher gusts. Helene is a Category 3 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. Additional strengthening is expected, and Helene will likely be an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane at landfall. Weakening is expected after Helene moves inland, but the fast forward speed will allow strong, damaging winds, especially in gusts, to penetrate well inland across the southeastern United States, including over the higher terrain of the southern Appalachians. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 60 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 310 miles. A weather station at Venice Municipal Airport recently reported a sustained wind at 46 miles per hour with a gust of 69 miles per hour. Another observation near Venice Beach reported a sustained wind at 51 miles per hour with a gust of 66 miles per hour.
Okay, I think you guys can see the frequency of this weather station. This weather station is at Grandfather Mountain here, which is just west of Morganton. Grandfather Mountain, just west of Morganton. This is 162, frequency 162.4500. 162.4500. Okay? This is from Morganton, North Carolina at Grandfather Mountain. Okay? I've let you see this because it's very important. Okay? That was my police radio. That's my law enforcement police radio. Now, I'm going to monitor this storm as it goes through. I want to keep you guys updated. Many of you live within the storm area between Florida, Georgia, and here in North Carolina, South Carolina area, and upwards of Virginia. Linda Covington monitors this show from Virginia. God bless her as well. This storm will be reaching up into Virginia by tonight into tomorrow morning. Okay? The outer bands of this hurricane are going north, over 392 miles north. That's incredible. That's incredible. Renee Sevi says someone needs to report that to Fox 46 who put the radio outage. I will call Fox 46 when we get off the air and report that. Okay? Fox 46 might have that station in that area where they're at. But the National Weather Service has many reporting stations all over North Carolina and all over every state in the United States. Okay? They have radio stations all set up all over the place. Okay? So this is nothing new. Does anybody have any questions about Hurricane Helene? Hurricane Heather, I'm so sorry your hand is hurting so bad. God bless you. God bless you. May He reduce your pain and your suffering as well. God bless you. I'm thankful Arnold Smith is here. We're grateful for him being here as well. But he's saying, Heather, we're glad you could join us. I'm extremely glad Hurricane Heather is here. She's my weather expert. Heather is my weather expert, and I've relied on her. Unfortunately, I've relied on her greatly over the years. I don't like her to suffer. She is a very dear friend of mine. Okay? She's a very dear friend of mine. I don't like any of my friends and family to suffer. And she's more than a friend, she's family. Many of you are just that. Probably 95% of you are family. that I've either talked to on the phone, that have been here on the air with me for 5.5 years. I greatly appreciate that. I love each and every one of you. My friend Heidi Petrick is also here. Thank you for being here, Heidi. Earlier we saw our friend Rob 52. Rob 52 is not in a hospital. He is. He's not a patient in a hospital. Rob 52 volunteers in a hospital near him in Arizona on Thursday evenings. He's there for 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever it is. I forgot. But please, everyone, as Juby Joe just said in the chat, please pray for Heather. We need her. We're extending our love of our family, and we're extending the love of our Savior Jesus Christ for her. God bless you. God bless you. Now, while we're studying earthquakes, while we're studying hurricanes, okay, we had an earthquake hit up in northern Washington, northwestern Washington. That earthquake hit near Vancouver, Washington. Okay? Now, I'm going to take this mug of mine down and take our banner down. As you can see up in northern Washington, okay, there was an earthquake this morning after about 4 a.m. this morning Pacific time. I got a message, a phone call that unfortunately I could not return because I don't know whether the cell towers are not working in that area or they're not working in my area adequately for me to call our family member up here in Washington, Friday Harbor, Washington. This, they say, was a 4.9. USGS has downgraded it to a 4.0. They downgraded it to a 4.0. This is a catastrophe. They should not have downgraded it. I believe this was a 5.5 earthquake. A 5.5 earthquake. It came out as a 4.9. I believe it was a 5.5 earthquake, and USGS has downgraded at least a full magnitude. At least a full magnitude. This is not good. This is not good at all. As I've stated before, I don't like it. I don't like it one little bit. This should not have happened. This should not have happened. Now, I'm going to attempt when our family member from Friday Harbor, Canada called, she said that her house rocked and creaked and cracked. 4 a.m. this morning. It was more like a great big huge truck smashed into her house. Smashed into her house. Again, it came out as a 4.9 earthquake. USGS has downgraded to a 4.0. Again, it wasn't that. It was not a 4.0. It wasn't a 4.5. I don't know where USGS gets off on downgrading these hurricanes, or not hurricanes, downgrading these earthquakes. Now, on the I want to show you this camera view of what we're seeing here. I want you to see it. Okay? I don't want to even take the time to take a screenshot, but I want you to see what I see. Okay? Right here. It says a 3.96 earthquake, which would be a 4.0. But it was not a 4.0. I believe that earthquake was a 5.5 earthquake. Now look at what it says here. Station reporting. You can't even see the station reporting because it was covered up by what they're talking about here. Okay? 0.188572220 011906848, whatever that is. Okay? Station details. I believe there's at least 68 stations reporting this earthquake. Now, I want to show you something. Right here. 3.65, 4.2, 3.74, 3.78, 3.45, 3.63, 3.7, 3.39, 3.73, 3.83, 4.01, 4.11, 3.72, 4.15, 4.26, 4.3, 3.73. Here we have a 4.62 here, 4.52. Look at this. Most of these are 3s. They're not even 4.0. You also see here a 4.34. A 4.34, go figure. Now, folks, after our family member called me about this earthquake, I came here to the back seismologist study page to find out how strong this earthquake really was. Well, guess what? It was stronger than this. They have altered these readings. Each of these stations that you see here, are seismograph stations. Seismograph stations that are reporting the size of this earthquake. If this was a 4.9, 5.0 earthquake, you would see readings of 4.8, 4.9, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5s. And yes, there were a lot of them this morning. But they have altered the readings here. These are not the same readings that we saw earlier today. These are not the same readings that we saw today. USGS has altered these readings. These readings do not show a 4.0 quake. None of these readings show a 4.0 earthquake at all. Excuse me. Just a second, guys. The light on my camera here is not supposed to be on. Oh well, it's on now. I guess I have to leave it on for right now anyway. But folks, what they said it was not. It was not. It's not a 4.0. This is at least a 5.0 to a 5.5 earthquake. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. They're not showing it right. And sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. You didn't even see what I had to show you. The USGS has altered the seismic readings. They've altered the seismograph readings. This was a 5.0, 5.5 earthquake this morning. They've downgraded it. It's that. They downgraded the doggone thing. Now let's go back to the map here. I backed it out here. East here. This is Marble Mount, Washington here. Marble Mount, Washington. This is a 1.3 tremor here. This is 8.8 kilometers deep. Compare to this 5.0, 5.5 earthquake here. This is 52 kilometers deep. 52 kilometers deep. That earthquake there, guys, this earthquake right here in Canada. Okay? Semeton, Canada. Saanichton, Canada. Near Vancouver. Okay? Unreal. Unreal. 52 kilometers deep. About 40 miles deep. Down here in the Puget Sound area. This is a 1.4 near Kingston, Washington. A tremor. 19 kilometers deep. Further south, Gorst, Washington, G-O-R-S-T, Washington, a 0.6 microquake. We go out east here. This is Snoqualmie, Washington. One of my sisters lives here in Snoqualmie. This is a 1.0 tremor here. This is a 0.6 in Gorst, Washington here. Let's go down here to Mount Rainier. Just southwest of Mount Rainier, we have a 0.1 microquake. Big deal. Big deal. It's not. They're still not being honest with us here in Washington State. Mount Rainier is getting ready to erupt and they're not reporting the information. Mount Rainier is getting ready to erupt and they're not reporting the information for whatever reason. Now, I've told you that Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are showing signs of eruption, near eruption. It has not happened as of yet, but it's very likely it will. Just a second here. Good, I finally got the light off here. All right, good. Okay, let me get things situated again. This earthquake here that I'm showing you, let me take off my camera here, my mug here as I call it. This earthquake here is just a microquake. USGS is still not showing exactly what's going on. Now, I did not bring up the seismic database. I did not bring up the seismograms because I wanted to focus on the hurricane. But I'm telling you right now, USBS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network are not reporting what exactly is going on. But I'm telling you this, Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are showing signs still of an upcoming eruption. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And it could be any day. Further south here, this is north of Mount St. Helens. This is a 1.1. And I tell you guys, as long as I live, I'll never understand USBS. This is not right, okay? They're saying that this 1.1 tremor is 13 kilometers south of Morganton, Washington. This is north of Mount St. Helens. They're not showing the earthquakes right now at Mount St. Helens. Why not? They're showing an earthquake out here to the west of Mount St. Helens.
Magnitude 4.7, 17 minutes ago.
A 0.5 near Kelso, Washington. This is west of Mount St. Helens. Why are they reporting that when there's more activity going on at the volcano. They're not showing it. And out east of Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams, they're not showing any activity there, but there is. Mount Adams is not getting anywhere near the significant coverage it should, but Mount Adams is also not getting ready to erupt. But there is activity at Mount Adams. Further south, down here, Mount Hood. Mount Hood has had its share of activity today, but Mount Hood is not getting ready to erupt, at least not showing signs of it right now. Okay? Further south down here, guess what? Newberry Volcano. Nothing going on there. I call BS on that. There is light seismic activity at Newberry Volcano. Down here, Sisters Volcano. This is a complex of 3 volcanoes. Sisters South, Sisters Central, and Sisters North. 3 volcanoes that are monitored by 1 seismograph. There is significant activity here at Sisters Volcanoes as well. Further south here, guess what we have here? Crater Lake. Crater Lake. There is significant activity here at Crater Lake, and they're not showing it. Why not? Why are they not showing the activity at Crater Lake? Inquiring minds want to know. I want to know. They should be telling us what is happening, but we have to go to the seismograms to figure it out. Down here to the south of Cascadia Megathrust Earthquake Zone. Okay? Remember this line here that runs along, this red line that runs along the coast of Vancouver, actually British Columbia, Canada, down here off the coast of Washington, Oregon, and down here into Northern California? The Cascadia Subduction Zone. Right here at the juncture point of the Gorda Escarpment and the San Andreas Fault, we have an earthquake just south of there. There's a juncture point right here. It's called the Triple Junction. South of the Triple Junction, we have an earthquake. This is a 2.6 minor earthquake, 43 kilometers west-southwest of Petrolia, California. We have another earthquake over here on the Gorda Escarpment. This is a 3.0 earthquake here. A 3.0 earthquake. This is about 179 kilometers off the coast on the Gorda Escarpment. Folks, as we see here, this whole area is the Cascadia Subduction Zone region. The Cascadia Subduction Zone region. There is plenty of activity here. They're not showing us. Sad but true. They're not showing it to us. Why? Inquiring minds want to know. Down here, southern Mexico. This is a 5.0 earthquake here. Guerrero, Mexico. This is 4 kilometers, 2 miles northwest of San Miguel Totolapan, Mexico. A large 5.0 earthquake here. Now, there's also another earthquake out here to the east. Guess what? This is near a very active volcano, Popocatépetl. Popocatépetl out here. This is a 2.93.0 earthquake. 2.93.0 earthquake out here near Popocatépetl volcano. Popocatépetl volcano can be seen just southeast of Mexico City. Good old Mexico City. But over here today in Guerrero, Mexico, we had a 5.0 earthquake. This earthquake hit at approximately 3 p.m., just after 3 p.m. Eastern Time today. Let's go further south here. This is near Nicaragua. Near Nicaragua, just off the coast. This is another 4.7 moderate earthquake here. This is on the Cocos Plate. You can see this red line earthquake here, earthquake fault. This is the Cocos Plate. On the Cocos Plate. the edge of the craton here. There are a bunch of tectonic plates. We see a lot of activity along tectonic plates. Now, before I forget, I'm going to go back up here along the New Madrid Fault. We have two earthquakes here along the New Madrid Fault. This one is in the northern end of the New Madrid Fault. This is a 2.4 mine earthquake. A 2.4 mine earthquake. Now, folks, this is near Keysport, Illinois. Keysport, Illinois. Folks, this is the northern end of the New Madrid Fault. We've told you that the earthquakes over in Illinois are plentiful, and they are. But this is just one earthquake that they finally reported in Illinois, a 2.4 earthquake. Further south here, this is Arkansas, Sidney, Arkansas. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake here. So the New Madrid Fault is finally getting some attention today. But I want to caution you, as I have talked about these earthquake faults before. These are not the only earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault. This is only what the USBS is choosing for us to see. Okay? Arnold Smith says Kissimmee, Florida sounds like a very romantic place to live. It's a nice place. It's a nice place. Very friendly. I've met a lot of people in Kissimmee, Florida. I can't say it's necessarily romantic, though. Okay? Incredible. Anyway, let's go down here to South America. USBS is saying we've got 3 earthquakes down here. One off the southeastern plate down here off the West Chile Rise here. This is another large 5.1 earthquake. But there's one other one up here that they reported in Peru. Southern Peru. Santa Rita de Siguas, Peru. A 4.5 earthquake. But then again, I'm going to caution you all. There are more earthquakes here than they're talking about. One earthquake over here in the northern part of the Tarapacá Hills. Tarapacá Hills, Chile. This is the border of Chile and Argentina. This is a 4.2 earthquake near San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina. Again, this is the border of Chile and Argentina here. It's in the top of the Andes Mountains. The top of the Andes Mountains here. Again, the border of Chile and Argentina. Now, I want to show you here. Look where this is. You see craters here. You see small craters. This is a volcanic area. This is a volcanic area. You can see actual volcanoes here. Look at that. Actual volcanoes. This is very much a volcanic area, folks. And yet here in the top of the Andes Mountains, we have an earthquake. A 4.2 earthquake here. This may be volcanic related. This earthquake may very well be volcanic related. Magma down here servicing or replenishing, recharging these volcanoes. Okay? Again, this is the border region of Argentina and Chile. But they're not reporting all the earthquakes. There are 22 earthquakes here in South America. The majority of those earthquakes are right up here, Tarapacá, Chile. Right in this area here. Okay? Between Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile right here. The majority of the earthquakes are there. Yes, there are earthquakes down here to the south as well. South central Chile. There's about 7 earthquakes down here. But again, why are they not talking about it? Most of those earthquakes are 2.6s, 3.5s, 3.7s. Still verifiable earthquakes. Why are they not talking about it? They're there. Now, I want to go over here. Actually, that's the Indian Ocean. I want to go back over here to the Atlantic Ocean here. Down here in the South Atlantic, Okay? Down here in the South Atlantic, right here, on the Antarctic Ridge. On this red area, the Antarctic Ridge here. We had a 5.0 earthquake here yesterday. Well, guess what? They're still not showing the earthquake here today. Earlier this morning, that seismic energy has moved over here into the South Atlantic. It's moved north along the Antarctic, or not the Antarctic Ridge, the Mid-Atlantic fault here. Another 5.0 earthquake here today. So this energy is moving north. I fully expect that energy to move up here to the North Mid-Atlantic probably by tomorrow or Saturday. Okay? It's going to happen. It's a matter of time. We go down here to the South Pacific. Again, the United States Geological Survey is not showing any earthquakes here. However, that does not mean they're not here. Tonga, this area right here, 4.5 and 4.7 earthquakes in the Tonga region. South there, over here in the Fiji, 4.2, 4.5 earthquakes here in Fiji. Now, that's not all, folks, there's more. Over here in the Kermadec Islands to the south. The Kermadec Islands are south of Fiji and Tonga. They're north of New Zealand here. Right here in the Kermadec Islands, we have more earthquakes here. 4.5 and 4.7 earthquakes they're not talking to us about. Whatever reason. I really don't care. I'm tired of trying to explain the USBS. We've had earthquakes over here in Vanuatu. We've had earthquakes over here in the Solomon Islands. 4.5, 4.7 earthquakes down here. I fully expect to see large earthquakes to be up here in the Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, Tonga, and Fiji within the next 24 hours. You can watch it happen. We've had some 3.5, 3.7, 2.5, 2.7, and even 1.7 tremors down here in New Zealand. 14 earthquakes down here in New Zealand today. USBS isn't showing any of them. Going over here, Papua New Guinea. This is a 4.3 earthquake here. Madang, Papua New Guinea. There are people that live over in this region. There are people that live in this region, guys. This is just barely off the coast. People living over here. Okay? They did not feel this earthquake. This earthquake was a mid-range 4. USGS is calling them light earthquakes. There's nothing light about it. Nothing light about it at all. These are moderate earthquakes. Fortunately for these people, this was out in the ocean. Out in the ocean. The ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake. Unreal. Very fortunate. Okay? Let's go further west here. There are more earthquakes here than they're showing here. There are earthquakes over here in central Indonesia, earthquakes down here in Java, Indonesia, but we go over here to Sumatra. Good old Sumatra, Indonesia here. We have another 4.6 moderate earthquake here. This time it's on land. But what they're not showing here and what they're not seeing here is there is a volcano here. There is a volcano here. This is a 4.6 earthquake here. Now I'm not even going to attempt the name of the location of this quake. This is PADANGSIDEMPUAN. Padang Seed Puan. Padang Seed Puan is how I see it. And I know I'm butchering their language, and I'm sorry. But this is over in Sumatra, Indonesia, nonetheless, near a volcano. Near a volcano. There are more earthquakes here in central Indonesia and southern Indonesia, and even over here in Java, Indonesia here. but they're not showing any earthquakes up here except for this one. This is just northwest of Mindanao, Philippines. Mindanao, Philippines. This is an aftershock from an earlier 8.4 earthquake here 4 months ago. An 8.4 earthquake here 4 months ago. This is a 4.7 earthquake off the coast of Mindanao, Philippines. Nobody felt this earthquake. Notice where the earthquake was. Notice where it was. It's right on top of a plate. Right up on top of a tectonic plate. There are 7 tectonic plates in this region. 7 tectonic plates in this region going over here to the east around Tonga, Samoa, over into New Zealand, further west over into Fiji, Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, the Legacy Islands over here. The biggest tectonic plate is the Asia-Australia plate. I think it's called the Asia-Australia plate, I forgot. But needless to say, there are 7 different tectonic plates in this region. That is why we get so many earthquakes in this region. But again, USGS is not showing us much of anything here in the South Pacific at all. Not at all. Over here in the Indian Ocean, this is on the mid-Indian Fault. Okay? Mauritius, Reunion Island, over here in the mid-Indian Ocean here. Now I'm hoping this map will show us where Mauritius is, right down here. This is a 6.3 earthquake, very powerful earthquake. But it's over here in the Indian Ocean. Nobody felt this earthquake. The Indian Ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake. A very strong 6.3 earthquake today. Okay? Let's go back over here. Northeastern India. Ujjain, India. A 4.3 earthquake 10 kilometers deep here. Let's go further east here. The Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench here. Oh, darn them. Okay, give me a second, guys, because USGS has, again, taken down our map here, and I'm going to recover it here in just a second here. They do this every time I start showing this map. Okay, I brought it back, easy enough. Over here in the Mariana Trench here, this earthquake, a 4.8 earthquake, a moderate earthquake, along the Mariana Trench. This is the world's deepest fault zone, the world's deepest tectonic plate, a 4.8 earthquake here. Okay, further north, another one here. This is south of Japan, southeast of Japan, and what they call the Bonin Islands here. This is a 4.8 earthquake, also 10 kilometers, 6.0 miles, 6.2 miles deep. We go further north up here to Hokkaido, Japan. Yes, there are other earthquakes here in Japan that they're not showing us. They're not showing us. They're too stupid to show it. Off the coast of Hokkaido, Japan, also on this earthquake fault. Coming out of Indonesia, coming out of Philippines here on this fault. A 5.5 very large earthquake. A 5.5 very large earthquake. USGS called this, I heard it when it came out, they called this a moderate earthquake. There's nothing moderate about this earthquake. If this hit land, there would be major damage. If this earthquake had hit land, it would have been major damage. It is not. This is off the coast. off the coast, 28 kilometers south-southeast of Akisha, Japan. Now, folks, let's zoom in here. I want to show you this. There's farmland here. Yes, there's some people that live over here. There are some people who live over here. But over here, there's a lot of farmland. The people over here may have felt some shaking, but not as much shaking as they would have felt had that 5.5 been right next to the shoreline. It was not. The Japanese people got off very lucky today. A 5.5 earthquake over here on this fault zone. Okay? Renee Stephanie says, wow, my county is under flood warning until 11:33 Saturday. Renee, that's the case here as well. We're under flood warnings and we're under wind watches today through Saturday morning. High wind warnings. High wind warnings here. Rebecca said she has to go put her grandchild to bed. Have a good night, Becky. We appreciate you being here. We love you. Have a good night, sis. Take care. All right. Does anybody have any questions about what we're seeing here? Okay? They're showing this lone earthquake over here in northeast India. They're not showing any other earthquakes in the Middle East or into Europe. Why not? Why not? There's over 400 earthquakes here in Europe. Over 400 earthquakes here in Europe. Why are they not showing them? Why are they not showing them? As I reported here before, here in the Syria and Turkey border region, there's 33 earthquakes here, right in this border region here. That is as a result of a major earthquake that happened here last year. February 3rd last year, there was a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here. We reported on it. I showed you the data sheets on it. They tried to get away with showing it. I believe they called it a 6.8. It was not. It was a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. Centered over here in the Turkey-Syria border region right here. Incredible. It killed over 5,000 people and injured over 5,000 more. And they tried to poo-poo it. They're not reporting even the aftershocks from that quake today. There's earthquakes all over Turkey here. All over Turkey, to the north and the south and over to the west. Earthquakes off the coast of Turkey here in what they call the Dokanese Islands. Earthquakes over here by Crete, Greece. More earthquakes over here in Greece here. 18 earthquakes here in Greece today. 30 earthquakes over here in Italy here. Right here in Italy. Why are they not showing them? More earthquakes over here in the Alps Mountains. North of Italy, south of Switzerland, Germany, and Austria. Earthquakes here. These are 1.1, 1.7, and 2.0 earthquakes. Earthquakes over here in France as well. The France and Spain border here, we have 1.1 and 2.7 earthquakes here. That's typical. Minor earthquakes over here in Spain. Over here in the Azores, south of Spain and Portugal, we have some 2s and 3s over here. Why are they not saying anything about it? More tremors and minor earthquakes over here in the Canary Islands. Why are they not saying anything there? Inquiring minds want to know. Let's go over here to Iceland real quick. I'm not going to spend a great deal of time here. However, I need to report to you what's happening. Okay? What I'm showing you here is what they call the Reykjanes Peninsula. When we started having earthquakes here and a volcanic eruption down here in the South Reykjanes Peninsula 2.5 years ago, the seismic energy and the volcanology continued north. We've had eruptions, and we've had not just eruptions, but we've had fissure eruptions ever since going north. This has happened. It's continuing. It's continuing. Now, over here in this beautiful town here, we talked about this before. We had a bunch of earthquakes here 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. At the time, scientists thought that this place was going to be the place where we'd had a volcano happen. They thought that this was where they're going to have a volcano happen. Great big huge fissures erupted over here, but not a volcano. Fissures open up in the land, open up in the highways, the roadways around this city. We still do not have any volcanic activity here. However, up here, to north of Greenvik, we've had 2 fissures open up here. One of them first opened up to the north here. Then another one opened up here closer to Greenvik. That fissure eruption led to lava pouring out of the fissure, coming all the way down here to northern Greenvik and burning down 4 houses here. Okay? Since then, they had evacuated Greenvik. They've allowed people to come back here. The volcanology, the volcanoes have continued. We've had continued fissure eruptions up here to the north, right in this area just about a month ago. Earthquakes are continuing here. Earthquakes are continuing. Why? Because underneath Svartsengi, this is the Svartsengi power plant. Further to the east, we have the Blue Lagoon Spa. Underneath the Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon Spa, we have a huge magma reservoir, a very large magma reservoir. We probably have close to 1 million pounds of magma beneath Svartsengi here. Now, with that magma reservoir growing here, we know why it's growing. Because the fissure stopped erupting out here. The fissure stopped erupting out here. And as a result, magma still poured into the magma reservoir underneath Svartsengi power plant. And it's continuing. We've had some minor and small earthquakes in this region. Earthquakes are growing out here to the east. Okay? I fully expect to see a volcanic eruption out here again. I fully expect to see another fissure eruption here. Not just a volcanic, but a fissure eruption. Not a crater, but a fissure. Just like we've seen in the past. Okay? The magma from the magma reservoir is pushing through magma channels down here in the crust of the earth that we walk on, pushing its way over here to the north and east of Svartsengi. I fully expect to have another fissure magma eruption, lava eruption here in probably the next few weeks. Just thought I'd give you guys a heads up on that. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Richard Smith is reporting a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake near Antofagasta, Chile. That's northern Chile. Antofagasta, Chile is near Tarapacá, Chile. They're in northern Chile. Okay? It's happening every day, many times a day. That northern Chile area is booming for earthquakes. Booming, literally. But that's what's going on here in Iceland. Okay? Nothing's happening over in Greenland at all. However, this wonderful mid-Atlantic fault is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic fault is expanding and it's pushing Europe in an easterly direction. It's pushing North America and Greenland in a southwesterly direction. Canada and the United States and northern Mexico is pushing the entire continent in a southwesterly direction. That's why we continue to see earthquakes on the East Coast. That is exactly why we're seeing earthquakes on the East Coast. Now, given that, a little while ago when we first came on the air, just about an hour ago, or 2 hours ago, we do have a hurricane hitting down here, just south of the Big Bend area here in Florida. It's scheduled to come ashore. The eye of the hurricane is scheduled to come ashore about 11 p.m. tonight. We may come on the air when it comes ashore. Okay? I want to tell you that. We may come on the air again to let you know what's going on. Richard Smith is also talking about another 3.6 small earthquake over in Martinique. Martinique is out here in the Leeward Islands here. Martinique is over here in the Leeward Islands. A 3.6 earthquake here. Now, why would it happen? Why do you think we'd have an earthquake out here? It's either volcanic because the earthquake is actually at the island, or something else. The earthquake could be offshore here. Folks, we have a great big huge earthquake fault here. A tectonic plate. A tectonic plate that originates over in Guatemala. Okay? It's offshore from the Leeward Islands here. So we may have seismic energy coming from that fault zone here. Or that earthquake may, if it's on land, may be a result of volcanic action at Martinique again. There has been volcanic action at Martinique before. Okay? Richard Smith says it's a 3.6 in Martinique region, the Windward Islands out here. Again, the USGS has not shown it. Let me see if it comes up on my device here. Usually it'll come up on my device before USGS even gets to it. Let's see what we can find here. I hate doing this because I just hate putting down an agency that I helped build when I was in college. I hate it. I hate it. Yes, the EMSC has this earthquake. They have it as a 3.6. They have it as a 3.6 right there. Let me take down the USGS map so you can see this. This is a 3.6 just off the coast of Martinique in the Leeward Islands out here. 3.6 earthquake. Okay? Unreal. Richard Smith says he posted from the EMSC. The EMSC is a European Seismological Agency. European Seismological Agency. Okay? 3.6 in the Martinique region. Again, this is halfway between the fault zone and Martinique itself. So I don't believe this has anything to do with volcanism. It could, but it's not on land. This is out in the ocean here. Nobody felt the ground shake here. The ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake. However, this is just a small quake, just a small earthquake. No big deal. No big deal. Now, let me quickly show you what's going on in South America. Like I said, there are 18 earthquakes today in South America. Look at this. Literally all over. all over. So from central Chile on up north to Tarapaca, Chile. Tarapaca, Chile is right there. Tarapaca, Antofagasta, Chile is right there. Okay? Unreal. Over into Peru. This is the 4.0 earthquake near Marcona, Nazca, Peru. And we have one more earthquake in this area just north of there. This is the 3.9 4.0 earthquake in Chonque, Lima, Peru. Chonque, Lima, Peru right there. Two other earthquakes over here in Colombia. A 2.5 near Santander, Colombia, and one north of there in Venezuela. A 2.1 here in Venezuela, and just south there in Santander, Colombia, we have a 2.2 there. Unreal. Unreal. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Arnold Smith says he's still having trouble imagining a 20-foot storm surge, what it would look like in his backyard. Arnold says even though he's 13 feet above sea level, the ground, 13 feet, he's actually not sea level, he's 13 feet off the ground. That means his bed would be 5 feet below the wave, 5 feet below water, and he'd have to be on the roof. Arnold would have to be on the roof. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Now, I showed you this picture earlier. Okay? Storm surge. 12 feet. Look where that 12-foot level is. That is as high as a basketball hoop. That's as high as a basketball hoop. Above that would be a semi-trailer. 20 feet. 20 feet. It's incredible. Heather, thank you so much for putting that up for us. I really appreciate it. Heather, share it with me, and I'm showing it to you. God bless you, Heather. We appreciate it. Juvie Joe says many people would be washed away by the storm surge, and they will be. If people have not already left the area near the coastline, their property is going to be covered by water. Their property is going to be covered by water tonight. It's going to happen. It's a matter of time. It's literally a matter of time before it happens. Now, Juvie Joe says, I will never deep sea fish again. I might. If someone offered to take me off the coast and do deep sea fishing, I'd go. I have no problem. I trust boats. I've only seen a few people have trouble with boats. I've never had a problem with going deep sea fishing ever. You can go with me, Juvie Joe. That might be fun. I used to have a deep sea fishing rod and reel set that my grandfather used to have, but my ex-wife has it, unfortunately. Sad. Anyway, I wanted to go over to the scriptures. I always try to leave you with a positive thought, a devotional, if you will, from the scriptures. Tonight I'm going over to 1 Corinthians. I'm going over into chapter 2, starting with verse 9. But as it is written, I have not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man, the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searches all things, yea, the deep things of God. For what man knoweth the things of a man, save the spirit of a man, which is in him? Even so the things of God knoweth no man, but the Spirit of God. What does that mean to us? No man knoweth the will of God, but it is the will of God is revealed to his servants the prophets. As prophets tell us. His prophets tell us. Man hath not seen nor ear heard, but the prophets reveal his word from God. Now, what does that mean here in verse 9? Or not verse 9, verse 11. Okay? Even so the things of God knoweth no man, but the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God reveals himself to us. We can find the truth of all things from God. We can pray. We've talked a lot about prayer in recent days and weeks. A lot about prayer. Prayer can heal. Prayer can bless our lives. Never ever stop praying. Never ever stop praying. We can find out the will of God through prayer. And folks, as I read the scripture earlier this week, if we go to prayer to God and we have real intent, having faith in Christ, we've been told that we will find the truth of all things if we pray to God. We'll find the truth of all things because the gift of the Holy Ghost will reveal the truth of those things. If we go to God with real intent, having faith in Him, He will reveal the truth of it unto us. We will get that. We will get that. Brothers and sisters, I have that testimony. I have had many times in the past few weeks especially where I have prayed for specific things, and guess what? My prayers were answered. Sometimes we pray and we don't get the answer that we want, or we may not get it as soon as we want. But every time I prayed for family members during the past few weeks, the prayers have been answered, and been answered in a timely fashion. God loves you. God loves us all. God loves His children. We are the children of God. There is a hymn called I Am a Child of God. I don't know whether I played it for you before, but let me go try to find it really quick. Barbara Iyer just gave us a membership, level 3 membership, to our emergency management family. Thank you, Barbara, for joining our family here. We really appreciate it. Let me go find that song for you. I love that song. I really do. I want to share it with you right now. If the internet will let me. Okay, I'm going to play it for you. I found it. It's a beautiful song. It's about 5 minutes long. Part of my devotional for you tonight. I am a child
Here
of God.
is why I stopped relying on last-minute deals for my...
Just a second. I hate these ads. I hate these ads. These ads are so poor. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll see you probably tomorrow morning, at the very least tonight, when this hurricane goes ashore. Good night, everybody. We love you. God bless you. God be with you.